Welcome back. In this section, I am going to create our first Kafka Streams application using Spring Cloud. I am creating this section with the following learning objectives. How to create and set up a Spring Cloud Kafka Stream project. How to configure your IDE to build and run your project from the IDE. How to run Kafka scripts to provide inputs and observe the outputs of your application. This section of the course will not teach you Spring Cloud or Kafka Streams. We will start learning those things from the next section. This section will teach some basics of creating your project, running it, and observing the results. Let's start. Creating a Spring project is a complex activity. However, it can be automated and simplified using the Spring Initializer. Let me show you. Here it is. Spring developers are already familiar with this, right? This online tool allows you to create an initial Spring project. You can select Maven or Gradle as your build tool. Let me select Gradle for this first project. In some other examples, I'll try to use Maven. Both the build tools are popular and equally good. Which one to use will depend on your organization's preference. I see many teams prefer using Gradle. However, I prefer using Maven for my Kafka projects. Why? Well, I can easily find some convenient Maven plugins. The Gradle ecosystem is rapidly expanding, but we still struggle to find some convenient and mature Gradle plugins. However, in this course, I'll be using both, so you become familiar with working with both the tools. Great, let's look at other selections. Language is Java. The next selection is for the Spring Boot version. Let me keep the default selection. The next one is for project metadata. You can name whatever group you want to give. However, the convention is to use your organization's domain name. So, let me use my domain name here. You are free to use yours. So, I am setting the group as guru.learningjournal.examples.kafka. The next item is the artifact name. I am setting it as Hello Streams. The name and description are optional. You can change it or leave the default value. I am leaving the name as default. However, let me change the description. Spring Cloud Kafka Streams Demo. Great. If you notice the package name, the initializer automatically creates a package name using the group name and artifact name. It is a standard convention, so you should leave the package name as default. Finally, we select packaging as jar and Java version as 11. That's all. We are done. However, we haven't selected any dependencies. A typical Spring Kafka project requires a bunch of other dependencies. However, at this stage, I am going to include the three most fundamental dependencies: Cloud Stream, Spring for Apache Kafka Streams, and Lombok. These three are the bare minimum we need for all the examples and any other Spring Cloud Kafka Streams application. Let me add them. Click this Add Dependencies button and select Lombok. Lombok is the Java annotation library for Spring projects, and we will be using it extensively. Now click the Dependencies button again and search for Cloud Stream. Add this dependency also. Click it once again and search for the last one, Kafka Streams, and add it. That's all for now. We are now ready to generate a project and download it. Hit this Generate button and you should see a zip file downloaded to your machine. Go to the file and uncompress it. Here it is. Do you remember this name? I gave this name to the artifact. Let me look inside the directory. You will get a bunch of files. This folder is in my downloads directory. So let me move it to a safer place. Great. So this is my work folder and I keep all my projects here. We are done with the first step. Now I have this initial project. What is next? The next step is to load this project in the IDE and run it once. Let's do it. Start your IDE, click this Open or Import button and browse to your directory. You can select the project directory, but let me select the build.gradle file so my IDE knows it is opening a Gradle project. Click OK and open it as a project. Wait for a minute while your IDE is loading the project and also downloading the Spring project dependencies. In this project, we will be using the Lombok annotation processor. For Lombok to work correctly, we will need two things. The first thing is a Lombok plugin. So, you should go to the File menu and select Settings. In the Settings box, click the plugin and also select the Marketplace on the right side. Search for Lombok and install the plugin. Your IDE might ask you to restart, so allow it to restart. Done. Now let's go back to the IDE settings once again. Expand this build, execution, deployment setting, and then expand the compiler settings. Come to the annotation processors and enable annotation processing on the right side. Apply it and you are done. That's all. You are done with the two mandatory settings for the Lombok. If you are using Gradle, I recommend you to check the Gradle configuration also. Expand this build tool option and select Gradle. Make sure you see the Java home setting here. Your IDE will automatically pick it, but you must have already defined the Java home environment variable. It should be pointing to Java 11. These two options here are showing as Gradle. So, your build is going to happen using Gradle. You can leave these settings to Gradle. However, I prefer using IntelliJ for building and running my application. So, let me change these two options to IntelliJ. Apply it and you are done with all the critical settings. This project is already in good shape to run it. So, let me expand the SRC folder. You should find the Hello Streams application class predefined by the Spring Initializer. Open the class source code and try running it. Your project should run smoothly and stop without showing any error. If you see an error, go to Run menu and click the Edit Configurations. You will see the Shorten Command Line option. Change it to jar manifest and save the run configurations. Come back and try running it once again. If your project runs without showing any errors, you are done setting up your starter project template. Great! So you are now ready with your starter project template. In the next video, we will learn a few more basics of Spring Cloud Kafka development. See you again. Keep learning and keep growing.